So, hello everyone. I hope that you all settled in. It's kind of an empty room compared to the previous presentation, and I won't be as interesting as he was, definitely. My talk is going to be about virtual machine inventorying. It is basically a service which inventories your virtual machines across different hypervisors and across different systems. A few things about me. I'm definitely soon to be husband because I proposed to my girl a few days ago, and this one has to be on top. If you know women, you definitely know that they know about this stuff, so that one has to be on top. Apart from my personal life, I'm a system engineer at DevTech, so horror guys. I'm also a self-taught Python coder who wanted to be a sysadmin for all of his life. I never got any real formal education about it. They tried to teach me .NET in college, but I politely refused and went to Python instead. This talk and a few words about it is definitely going to be brief, and all attempts at humor stop here. So, sorry about this one. Okay, a few words about the background and this whole idea. Let's say a year ago, I started working for my current employer. As you may have noticed, it's DevTech. And at the moment, there were four of engineers who controlled 3 virtual hosts with around 80 or 90 virtual machines. It was a mess back then. And our current situation is that we have 5 hosts with 130 and counting virtual machines, and it's still a mess. Definitely a mess. So, a few months back, we got a new guy. He immediately got the team lead position, and of course, he wanted a breakdown of all the various projects and virtual machines that were involved in those projects, and who is managing those, and why aren't they turned off, and stuff like that. And a colleague of mine got this daunting task to inventory all of this. He's sitting with us right now. He did it. Definitely, he did it. Then we got a CTO, and of course, he wanted a breakdown of all the virtual machines and all the projects and all the stuff. Then the CEO wanted a breakdown, and after which came my own mental breakdown of repeating all of this. When they say I want a breakdown, they want the virtual machine, where it's located, how much RAM is it using, how many IP addresses are they paid for, so are those public IPs, are they private, and much more information. Of course, it's definitely hard to keep track of all of it by hand. So I came up with an idea to create a service which will do this automatically, almost in real time. And the service is composed of 2 components. The first one is the agent. An agent is a simple Python, an agent is a script that is deployed to a virtualization host, and it uses various techniques to gather data about all the VMs that are running on that host. When I say various techniques, it really depends on the host. So let's say that the host is Hyper-V, which we run, unfortunately. The techniques used are some PowerShell scripts that trigger the Hyper-V and gather information. And let's say if the agent is deployed to an OpenStack, using OpenStack Nova Compute, the agent is smart enough to know to use OpenStack APIs and to gather information about those machines. The central, as you may have seen on the slide, the central component is the server, which is of course running Python as well. And the database is MongoDB, and the agent talks or communicates with the server using secure, what's it called? WebSockets. Yeah, WebSockets. So all the communication between them is encrypted. The third, and I would say optional part, is the agent part. down there. It is composed of a Angular JS interface, so a UI for the CEO and the CTO and all the Cs, so they can click and mutter around. Along with gathering essential information about the VMs, it has a few additional features, one of which is continuous monitoring of VM power state. It's not meant to be a monitoring tool. It's just a feature that allows you to track when your machine was powered off and when it was powered on, and that's it. The second feature is to collect all the hardware changes between the states of the virtual machines. So let's say that you add more RAM to it, then it will pick up that event and log it into the database so that you can create all those nice and fancy charts for the UI. And the third feature is that this agent also gathers virtualization host info, meaning which operating system. So yeah, those are the information that my service gathers. So on the VM side, it gathers name, CPU count, RAM, host name, and everything that you can see on the slide. And for the VM host, it collects a smaller amount of data because that amount is enough for the moment, including detailed disks info, so every partition with free and what's the other word, with free and occupied space. Yeah. During development, this is my side project, my hobby project, I stumbled upon quite a few problems and gotchas, and most of them were caused by PowerShell in general, because I've never used PowerShell before. So at the moment there is only a Hyper-V agent in production, in testing. Other problems were generated by PowerShell and its JSON outputs and UTF-8, because someone at Microsoft decided that when you export something to JSON, you have to specify its depth. So if your JSON is 2 levels deep, if it's 2 levels nested, then it's fine. When you have 3rd level of nesting, then it just breaks and outputs nothing. Yeah, and that's by default. That's by default. I don't know why. So I had to explicitly add that minus depth. Second problem, second gotcha that got me spinning for like 2 days, was that when it outputs the JSON, it's not properly formatted. It uses, I don't know why, but they add byte order mark to the beginning of the file. So when you read it up in Python, it turns out to be invalid. Still, I don't know why. So with the help of good people from Stack Overflow, I managed to get over this. And as you may notice, all of these underlined words or sentences, all of that had to be implemented just to create a regular JSON file. I don't know why, don't ask me, I don't want to touch PowerShell anymore. There are a few features planned, if I get the time and resources, to definitely implement properly OpenStack Nova support, definitely to support containers, so to treat VMs like containers, add KVM or QEMU support, and optimize the hell of PowerShell that I made. Other features include licensing reminders, because you always have that one license that no one thinks about, and then it expires, and then you have a problem. And to put it all in a nice UI, definitely. And for the end of my presentation, I have prepared a little demonstration. So I got a Hyper-V machine back home, which is currently running 2 VMs. And I have a master server deployed in a data center in the UK. I will now try to create an RDP connection to my Hyper-V back home. I hope it goes well. It worked. Okay, so this is my Hyper-V back home. As you can see, I have 4 VMs, 2 of which are running for quite some time now, around 3 hours. And I will now run my Python server, as I said, which is in UK. Okay, server is running. This Hyper-V agent is at the moment implemented as a Windows service, so I have to run it in debug mode from PowerShell. Yay! Okay, I will run the service in a couple of moments. There is a, sorry about this, you shouldn't have to see this. There's a third component, so there's an agent, there's the client part of this. Oh my God, sorry. Okay, I got the client running. First error, second error, and yay, that's it. So, first, second, okay, so this is the client, and it has successfully connected to the master, which is in UK, and it's spitting out some data about VMs that are currently running. So, as I've said, my presentation is going to be brief, and that's all for me. If you have any questions, please ask them now. Okay, thank you all for... Yeah, just one. Mike.
I really admire your work because we work together.
Yeah.
But are you aware that code you made is proprietary and DevTech is owner of that?
Yeah, I talked with my superiors about that, and it is not. I'm not using their time, I'm not using their infrastructure, the idea is mine, and this is just a proof of concept.
Okay.
So, I try to talk, yeah.
Just a comment.
Okay.
I'm really sad when someone needs to use inferior solutions when someone knows that there are much better ones. Regarding Hyper-V, PowerShell, and so on and so on.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. But we all have our cross to bear, you know. So if that is all, I thank you once again for coming.